What is up, 49er faithful? Welcome back. As today we are going to be talking about the 49ers 53-man roster. We project who makes this 53-man roster, as well as talk about roster cuts and injury updates. We have a very special guest. Let's play the intro, and we'll be back right after this. Alrighty, guys, welcome as we are here to predict the 53-man 49ers roster. And here we go as I introduce our special guest, Jason from Niner Faithful Radio. How's it going, Jason?
Talofa, everybody. How's everybody doing today, man? Hey, man, by the way, that music that you have on there is awesome. I
Thank
love
you.
that guitar riff that's going on down there.
Thank you. Thank you. Alrighty, guys, before we get into our roster prediction, of course, we can never start a show without 49ers injuries every year, but unfortunately, we have to do it. There is some good news, though. First of all, Elijah Mitchell back at practice today, so that is great to hear from the 49ers, as well as with the blue contact jersey, George Odom also back into practice. So looking like these guys could be ready for week one. And so as well as injuries from Friday's game, some pretty bad ones, I'd say for sure. But Cameron Latou, knee seems like gonna have meniscus surgery, so that's gonna be a big loss. But also, I think that the Niners are planning to redshirt him anyway. So I think this definitely says that they're redshirting him. What do you think about that, Jason?
I think most people, like you said, were assuming he was going to be redshirted. He definitely needs a lot of work, especially with catching and stuff like that. But this injury pretty much does push him to, redshirt. So we'll see him next year. We'll probably make the initial, but then we'll put him on IR.
Yep. Then, of course, fan favorite Jordan Mason with a foot sprain. Luckily, day to day. So at least it doesn't sound like it's too serious. And then Chris Conley, shoulder, also day to day. And then Zane Gonzalez hurts his calf during pregame warm-ups, and that's already not good news with Jake Moody having a very similar injury. Man, these guys need to stretch more.
I've heard that a lot of people that are wanting to put Moody on like a red shirt kind of a thing as well. Just either divvy it up and go back and get Robbie Gold, or even just like roll with the Zane Gonzalez when he gets healthy. So it's definitely some interesting moves we could do with that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the Niners bringing in Zane Gonzalez and like possibly putting him on the practice squad. But of course, also they did actually work out two guys today. One was a former 49er, I believe, back in 2020 or 2021. Um, in what the heck was his name again? Tristan Vizcaino and Taylor Russolino. So Vizcaino was the one that was on the 49ers. So we'll end up seeing what happens there with the kicker situation, but definitely gonna be interesting.
Robbie Gold on speed dial.
Yep. Alrighty, some people in the chat here. David McNiner, what's up? Thank you for tuning in. What's up, Jason?
I was trying to say hi to David, and it just auto corrected to Davis, and then I don't know. I forgot I can't talk in this one because it brings up all of them at one time.
Alrighty, guys, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe also to Jason's social media and channel. All the links are gonna be down in the description. But um, yeah, we'll end up seeing what ends up happening really with the kicker position. And I forgot to actually mention an injury too, their injury, but safety Taylor Hawkins broken hand, so probably gonna be going on IR anyways, and he was anyways likely
Yeah,
I'd think to be a practice squad guy anyways, so they may end up just probably putting him on IR for the practice squad. But let's get right into our roster. Start talking about the quarterback position. I'll let you go first, Jason. How many quarterbacks do you have making this roster?
I only have the two. I only have Sam and Brock making it for right now. Yeah, Brandon Allen could probably might get picked up by another team, but I think there's other people that are available that are out there that we could pick up if needed. But yeah, I only have the just number one, number two making it for right now.
Alrighty. I actually am a little bit different. I have the Niners keeping three quarterbacks: Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, and Brandon Allen. I know Brandon Allen didn't show a whole lot in the preseason, but I think that the 49ers um, will keep him because he is a veteran that's been on a few teams like the Rams and the Bengals, but also maybe the Niners didn't showcase him too much because they're hoping they get him on the practice squad. And I know sometimes the Niners do that, and they're not always gonna obviously end up working because teams would still go out and get him because last year they had that cornerback that they drafted from Penn State, and it seemed like they were hoping that they would keep him on the practice squad, but Washington came right in and picked him up.
Swooped
So
him up.
I definitely could see that the Niners though end up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's only two, but I'm going with the three here. Uh, Running backs, I'm sure there's not much to talk about there, but who do you have, Jason?
I've got McCaffrey, Elijah, Jordan, and TDP.
Yeah, I have the same. I do have the order a little bit. I actually have TDP a little bit ahead of Jordan Mason. Just with Jordan Mason have obviously hurt, and then also some of the fumbling
Yeah,
problems he's had, but same guys there.
he's
Uh,
kind
uh,
of
yeah,
all up or nothing. It's like he had the fumble at the goal line, but he was running the ball down there to get us
yeah.
there. So he's kind of all or nothing. But yeah, I definitely see those two.
Yeah, I mean, definitely if you have something big problem, especially that's a fumble, that can put you in Kyle Shanahan's
Yeah,
doghouse for until you end up fixing that. So.
that is a real thing, that Kyle Shanahan doghouse.
Righty. I think this one might be a little bit fun, or maybe Jason's not gonna make this fun, but fullback.
Check left. Yeah, it's Kyle. I don't think there's any other anything else other than to say that.
Yeah, I think Jack Coletto. So I know some people have been kind of talking about him. They haven't them keeping him, but we'll talk about somebody else later on in this roster prediction. But yeah, I think Jack Coletto definitely I would think is a high practice squad. Um,
Yeah,
Guy that the 49ers would love to have back, but I do not have him making the roster. Of course, Pro Bowler Kyle Juszczyk making the team. Alrighty, wide receivers.
this is where I think me and you might have a little bit of difference. So I've got Debo, BA, Juwan Jennings, Ronnie Bell, Ray McLeod, and Chris Conley. Obviously, the one most people think of, oh, Danny Gray. I don't. He's had his chances. He's always hurt. I guess the way I see it, he just hasn't. When he's had the opportunity to show what he has, he really hasn't stepped it up that much. And so at this point, I'm thinking, I would rather go with someone like Ronnie Bell or Chris Conley, who's played like, yes, he is hurt, but it's only day to day for right now. But that's where I sit in the wide receivers.
Yeah, it's tough. I kind of want to say the Danny Gray thing almost is similar to Trey Lance, where it's just like
Yes.
given the opportunity, but just unfortunately not able to stay there. And so this one was really tough for me because I actually do have Danny Gray making this roster, and then I have basically uh, everyone else with Debo, Jennings, Ayuk, Carrera, McLeod, Ronnie Bell. So
I can also see Snead coming back.
Yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. I know that Chris Conley one is not going to be high on many people's things. I'm just at this point, like I said, I'm ready to move forward from Danny Gray. Nothing against him, but so far I've liked what I've seen out of Chris Conley so far this preseason.
Yeah. I mean, I know Chris Conley's hurt a little bit, so maybe they might be able to put him on the practice squad or something, but
Yeah,
that then I could definitely see them bringing like Chris Conley up. But tight end wise, who do you have?
and another one. I only have three making the team. I've got George Kittle, Ross Dwelly, Braden Willis.
Okay, interesting.
And I know they might just switch out like Latu and have Latu make the team and then sign Braden Willis. When they put out Latu on the IR. But as far as Ross Warner, or excuse me, Charlie Warner, I'm kind of done with him. We know what he's going to do. He's going to drop balls here and there. I much like Ross Dwelly overall a lot more than I'd hit do him. And hell, if we went with four, I would even take Latu and Willis over Warner at this point.
Okay, I'm a little bit different here. Actually, I have four tight ends: George Kittle, Cameron Latu, and then Braden Willis and Charlie Warner. And I will say that this is an initial 53-man roster, so I definitely see that they're gonna probably put Latu on the IR. So they definitely could just end up actually having three and going somewhere else. Like it really depends with the Nick Bosa's extension too, because
Yeah,
if they don't end up signing him by tomorrow, which I don't really seem like it's gonna happen, it's pretty unlikely. I think they could spend maybe another spot at the defensive line. So I think at the end of the day, I'm in agreement with you where I think they keep three tight ends, but initially I have them keeping four. What's up, CG Ruthless?
how's it going, CJ?
Alrighty. Next up, this one might be an interesting one, but the offensive line.
All right, so initially I got Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Brendo, Buford, McKivitz, Il Manning, Matt Pryor, and John Feliciano. That's who I have go for my offensive line right now. Jalen Moore, Jason Poe, I think would be the first two to bring back maybe if we need something, and then maybe Nick Sakel afterwards. I know they love Nick Sakel, but he has had a terrible preseason.
Yeah. Wait. So you said you had Nick Sakel not making it, or you have making it?
Not making it. Like
Okay. I'm a little bit different here, actually. So I have, of course, the starters, and then I have Matt Pryor, Il Manning, Nick Sakel, and John Feliciano. Um,
I
you
love
know, I,
everybody's on Manning. I really love that pick.
yeah, I know that, um, Nick Sakel, he was someone actually I talked about this offseason where I'm like, I actually want to see what he can do. Um, and they talked about this guy a lot during the pre-draft, the post, like after the draft, saying that they were looking at him, even years before they drafted him. And yes, I know he's struggled, but maybe they're just gonna give him a little bit more time, because they do have some veterans, like a John Feliciano that they probably could play there, and then Matt Pryor as well. So that's why I decided that I think. Um, Nick Zakel ends up making this roster.
They're very high on him, and yeah, I mean, what can you say? We talked about like somebody like being in the Kyle Shanahan doghouse. Well, Nick Sakel seems to be almost the opposite. That no, it's almost like no matter what he does, Kyle Shanahan absolutely loves him, which definitely a Kyle thing.
Yeah, and I think that also it's kind of hard maybe to be cutting Jalen Moore because he hasn't looked the best, but this last preseason game he looked better. But then I also Il Manning has consistently been pretty solid on that backup offensive line, and that's been definitely an issue we've seen in all three preseason games. Even though I'd say the last preseason game was better, I just see Il Manning getting picked up, and with the uncertainty of depth on the offensive line, This is why I see Il Manning making it over a guy like you know, Jalen Moore. But it could be where Jalen Moore makes his roster and then Nick Zakel gets cut. But I think that because Nick Zakel hasn't been on this team as much, they may end up giving him a little bit more time to develop. So
I'm curious if he'd be how fast he'd be picked up for another team if he was cut, kind of thing.
maybe, I mean, I think there could be a couple teams because I don't know if you saw, but like a lot of teams have been cutting guys too. So it's either it's just a cap casualty or like maybe they are looking for uh, some other better offensive line, maybe possibly like the Niners too. So
Yeah,
gonna be interesting. But what's up, Bryant Klopp, the moody lover, I like to say.
he loves his Moody.
Yeah. Um. Alrighty. So that ends up the end of the offensive. I have around 27 guys on offense.
And I have 24.
Righty. Now moving on to the defense. This one's gonna be fun. The defensive line.
All right, we're talking about the entire thing or like the tackles or the ends?
Entire thing.
All right, so I have, as far as the tackles go, I got Javon Hargrave, Armstead, Kinlaw, Givens, Ty McGill. And then for the ends, I got Bosa, Drake Jackson, Robert Beal, Kerry Hyder, and Cleveland Farrell.
Okay. Alright. I have Nick Bosa, Drake Jackson, Cleveland Farrell, Austin Bryant, Kerry Hyder, Robert Beal Jr., Javon Hargrave, Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, Kevin Givens, and I almost wanted to actually put in Marlon Davidson or T.Y. McGill because Marlon Davidson's actually looked pretty solid. Um, but I ended up just going with the guys I
I
talked
mean,
about.
almost wouldn't mind adding two more and then maybe cut down on one of my running backs or not running backs, but my cornerbacks, or maybe cutting back on one of the linebackers, maybe a receiver. But yeah, I could easily put two more on and carry 12 for the defensive line.
24 and a half. That's fun. Yeah, but alrighty. Now the linebackers. This one's I think gonna be interesting, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
All right, I got Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Marcelino McCurry Ball, D Winters, and Jalen Graham. And
Wow.
I know a lot of people are going to be thinking Oren Burks, but I think if we can get him traded sometime in the next, I don't know, what, 8 hours before, or whenever the roster cuts are due, was it 5 o'clock tomorrow? If we can somehow, I think he has more of a value if we can get him traded.
Hmm. Alrighty, I have a guy. Alright, what's up, Ryan from No Border Sports? Thanks to you for tuning in. But I have Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Oren Burks, D Winters, and Jalen Graham. Many of you guys might know I a big DFA fan because he's the only 49er that went to my college. Um, and my college football team is pretty bad, so we don't really have guys going to the NFL pretty often. So obviously, I didn't show that he's on there, but I think the 49ers might trade him. I know he doesn't offer too much in terms of like the linebacker spot, but I think somebody like maybe the New York Jets or the Texans or the Titans could look to just add a special teamer. Um, so I definitely
The,
could see him
the
as
Raiders would
maybe
have
a
worked pretty good
trade.
too.
The Raiders, you say, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So I
this is one
definitely
I don't
see.
think where no matter who's the odd man out on this one, it's going to hurt no matter what. Because I think all of them are definitely NFL level caliber players. So whoever's cut and let go, they're going to end up on somebody else's team easily. But before the end of the day, they'll get a ton of phone calls and they'll be somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not be surprised if we hear a similar thing that happened last year or the year before. We traded that one guy from to the Denver Broncos. He was
No,
undrafted. We got like a
yeah,
sixth round pick or whatever. Like I would not be
I
surprised if we
can't
see
remember
the
the name,
same
but I do
thing.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So going on
Oh,
to DBs
Jonas
now.
Griffith. That's who it
Jonas
was.
Griffin. Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely could see the Niners trading, and I mean you can't cut D Winners or Jalen Graham because they've looked so good.
Yeah.
Um,
So good. So all those
I mean
the
Jalen Graham,
contract.
I did not I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know anything about him going into the draft. I was like, why did we draft another linebacker? And I know it's only preseason, but he's looked really, really good. So
I think him or D Winters. I think if something happened to either Fred or Dre, and they had to be gone for an extended amount of time, I think they would fill in just as good.
yeah, I mean we know Dre Greenlaw misses a little bit of time. I think he is battling an injury right now, I believe. A little bit of a small one. So there's definitely, I think, a chance that the 49ers could. There's a chance, yeah, that one of these rookies at least will um,
I'll get a few starts.
get some starts, and I definitely could see D Winners being key on special teams with his speed, and then he could also come into certain packages just because, um, the blitzing
Mhm.
situations. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of blitzing stuff that Wilkes is going to bring up. Because we haven't done a whole lot of it the last
yeah.
few years, so we're definitely going to be picking that up a lot.
Alrighty, cornerbacks. Now this one, I know people are gonna disagree with 100%, but
Oh, for sure. This one, I've actually got six. I've got Travarius Ward, Diamador, Samuel Womack, Isaiah Oliver, Ambry Thomas, Daryl Luter, and Deshaun Jameson.
I don't know how I forgot about Daryl Luter. Not gonna lie, probably just because he hasn't practiced really.
Yeah,
So I
he's on
guess
pup right now.
yeah, he is on pup, so he doesn't technically count towards the roster anyways right now. So um, that's why I guess I just didn't have him in too. But yeah, so I have Charvarius Ward, Diamador Lenore, Samuel Womack, Isaiah Oliver, and Ambry Thomas.
So you're only keeping the five.
Yeah,
Well, actually, I kept seven. I can't count.
I don't know. I was just trying to. I guess if I were to cut someone from the tight end, though, I would probably put in like Deshaun Jameson in there
I guess
because
I was trying to make room for Jameson for the returns. I know we could
yeah,
we
that's what I was about to say. Like I think because of his special teams.
yeah, Ronnie Bell is solid, but Jameson looks like he has a lot more burst coming out on his
Yeah,
returns versus Ronnie Bell. So I was trying to figure out a way. Like, how do we get him on there? You know, so that's why I went with that one. Special teams do matter.
yep. Alrighty. Next up, the safeties.
All right, I got Deshaun Gibson, Jair Brown, Talanoa Hufanga, and Greg Odom.
Yep, same. I just don't really see there being anyone else that
Now,
makes.
Greg Odom, maybe we get something depending on how he looks coming off his injury since he was in the blue jersey today. But
Yeah,
again, we could just toss him in IR for a few weeks and sign someone else like Hawkins or Hartfield.
yeah. Well, Hawkins is hurt too, so I don't think it'd
That's
be.
right. That's right.
So probably Hartsfield. It's so crazy because Steve Wilkes made us get Isaiah Oliver, Miles
Yep.
Hartsfield, Zane Gonzalez. People are saying too. It's like,
Yeah. And then all of them haven't really been that great, but they're supposed to be, really big
yeah,
Steve Wilkes pushes. So
no,
interesting how that played out.
no. I know people are like saying Isaiah Oliver like should get cut, but I just think it's gonna take him some time also because he is in a new system.
Yeah.
And then they can still use him in certain packages.
I still
So
like his size for big slot receivers or like big
yeah,
tight ends or anything like that. So I think he makes it, unless maybe, they go with like Thomas or Ambry. Emery Thomas instead for that, guarding those bigger guys. So, but I would still go with Oliver right now.
Yeah, because the thing with Isaiah Oliver is they could like use him when they play the Seahawks, for example, like with Tyler
Yep.
Lockett, and then like put Womack, like with Cooper Cup.
Yeah. I
So
like the interchangeability between those guys to be able to switch out, for
yeah,
the better matchup.
and Womack now has also played some outside at least during camp and stuff too.
Yep.
So there's
I mean, I've heard
versatility.
a lot of talk that he might just end up being the starting outside corner, and they're just going to shift Diamador inside to the
Yeah,
nickel starter. So, I mean,
I personally don't want them to do that just because how what we saw from Diamador last year.
I agree.
I feel like they should just, but we'll see. Um, yeah, so I got the same with the safeties as well, Hufanga, Gibson, Jair Brown, and then George Odom. So that gives me about 23 guys making the roster. Um,
See, I had 26 on the defense.
uh,
That's a lot. Well, Brian's like, I like olives. And I'm like, olives are an underrated pizza topping. I felt I had to stand up for the olives.
mm. Alrighty, special teams. I got Tabor Pepper, Jake Moody, and Mitch Wisnowski.
Yep. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be that one person or those few people out there who are going to switch out Moody for Gonzalez. So,
Yeah,
yeah, but
but they're
yeah.
both hurt, so
Yeah, so right now, neither of them. That's another one, depending on how the Jake Moody one is.
yeah,
There's already been quite a few kickers that were cut today that I saw. So I mean,
yeah.
there's already that's what
And
sucks
one
about this
was like
time
a
of year.
trade or whatever.
I hate this time of the year. Where I love this time of the year because we're going to finally see how this team is going to be built. But at the same time, so many of these guys' dreams and everything is going to end tomorrow. They're no longer going to have anything to do. So it's kind of
Yeah,
like a bittersweet thing to watch the cut downs and everything.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we tried out two kickers today, but it's just like interesting to see though because what are they gonna do with the 53? Because they're obviously gonna probably be Jake Moody, but then are they gonna like put him on IR or what? Because I think if they put him, okay, so if they put somebody on IR right now, they're done for the season. So they
yeah,
have to wait till tomorrow. Like the player's gonna have to make the 53-man roster, and then they can officially like put guys on IR and then fill in that roster spot that
yeah.
gets emptied. So
And that's not even like what's going to happen with with Bosa signing because are we going to be able to afford any more guys?
yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Have you heard anything new as far as Bosa signing?
Rap Sheet went on the Pat McAfee show today, and basically it sounded like there hasn't really been too much between him and the Niners. So
I'm about a 7 right now for my worry,
yeah, same.
but I think it also makes sense to wait to try and get some of that money moved over for Bosa to free up some space for the rest of the guys. Moody is going to be redshirted. I'd be okay
Well,
with that.
yeah,
I'd be okay with that. Better, and if you call anybody else but Robbie Gold, it's like that's the only person they need to call. Like, look, we know Robbie Gold can't kick nothing past like 40 yards, but damn it, that's who I want.
yeah. I don't think Robbie Gold's gonna be back, even if it's Robbie. You wish, right?
Yeah, he's going to be so expensive,
Yeah, I
but
don't see.
worth it in my opinion. I would be okay if we could somehow free up some money somewhere to get Robbie on this team for one more chance.
Yeah, I know. I just don't really see that happening. But I guess we'll talk a little bit about practice squad, just based on the cuts we have right now. What do you think they're doing with the practice squad?
Um, More than likely, it's probably going to be. Let's see. Chris Conley, Willie Snead are probably going to be jump over to practice squad. Jason Poe, Jalen Moore. Don't obviously. I don't think anybody thinks Il Manning's going to practice squad.
Yeah.
They're probably going to bring back Alfredo Gutierrez.
What's
What's
up,
up, Corey?
Corey?
How you doing, brother? Um, as far as safeties, Hartsfield, bring him back. or
Yeah, I
practice
mean, nobody
squad.
seemed like he was gonna. Nobody seemed like they were gonna sign him anyways. So
No. Um, let's see. Who else do we have?
Troy Fumagalli, I think, will be on the practice squad.
Yeah, I see Brandon Allen being on our practice squad unless some like an injury or something.
hmm I see the rookie that they cut, Spencer Wagey, possibly being
Um,
practice squad.
what was the running back? Khalil Laborn.
Oh yeah, I see him on the practice squad
I can
too.
see him being on the practice
See,
squad.
there was things about him doing really well in camp, and
There
I think
was.
the 49ers on purpose didn't play him because they want to redshirt him and put him on the practice squad.
Yeah, I could see that one because there was a lot of people that were really high on him. Um, Jack Coletto, I could see him maybe making it to the practice
And
squad.
then Marcelino McCurry Ball technically for me because I know you had him on the
Yeah,
roster, but I don't. So I think Marcelino McCurry Ball.
Trace
Deep,
Swilling, Quantrez Knight,
yeah,
definitely.
Quantrez Knight. Let's see. Maybe Breland Speaks.
Let's see. I mean, more than likely, a couple of those guys that we both have put up for defensive linemen, whether it's someone like Marlon Davidson, Ty McGill, Alex Barrett, Kalia
Yeah.
Davis, some of those guys are definitely going to be going down to the practice squad. David McNiners to go.
Okay, Bryant has Jack.
Brian is another one I know. He's a big Coletto fan.
Yeah.
I've talked to him quite a bit uh, about that position or for him.
Hey, he may be emergency QB. You never know.
Who would it, I mean? I'd go CMC first.
I mean, yeah, true.
Just let them run the Wildcat for a while, or just hell, just do it just for the hell of it. Down on the goal line, make or Jordan Mason's with all his power. I'd love to see him just run it straight up the middle.
Be interesting.
Why are you calling me?
Let's see. Okay, I just want to make sure there's no other roster cuts that we've seen.
Yeah, I'm trying to refresh here, see if anything else has popped up in the last few minutes.
The one thing I hate is like I know the Niners do this a lot of times, even with context, but man, they take so long to cut guys too.
I don't like this year's version to where all of it is done at one time.
Yeah.
I I thought it was much better for both the players and everybody else when there was the three cuts.
I
Basically
agree.
one after every preseason game, basically.
Yeah.
To me, that's fair because then those guys that you are on the border with. If you're stuck between two guys, so you give them both another chance to play. Okay, now we're definitely this guy definitely played better, so we'll go with him. So to me, it makes more sense to do it that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't. Yep, I'm not seeing anything else that has been shown up as far as cut downs.
Yeah, me neither.
Uh, cuts.
Yeah, because all the Niners cuts right now are just people talking about the one from the NFL .com
Yeah,
wire or whatever.
yeah. Everybody's just talking about like people who are going to be picked up. Who's going to practice squad. So if there's a position to upgrade, what position group do you think it's going to be? If we go pick up somebody in free agency, who's it going to be?
Defensive line.
D-line?
I'm not sold, man.
Really?
I'm not sold on the edge spot. I, I like Cleveland Farrell, and then I'm just like, I don't know after that on the edge.
Jake Jackson, Kerry Hyder? But
I mean, Drake Jackson, I see him as a starter, right? And then Kerry Hyder's,
I think it's more of a priority personally for if we went after the O line.
Yeah.
That's who I'm looking at. Like I'm going to be because I'm off the next 2 days, so I'm going to be hitting refresh the computer all day just to say, okay, what offensive linemen are going to be cut?
Yeah.
Maybe a safety, depending on how people feel about Greg Odom. He's great as a special teamer.
Yeah.
I don't know how he necessarily feel about him if he had to start any amount of time. So maybe not sure who. I think the Jets cut a safety today. Forget what his name was, but I saw him. But yeah, so that's the only people. Maybe a wide receiver if someone doesn't like some of the wide receivers that we have
Let's
there.
see. Yeah, okay. I guess there's nothing else. But yeah, the Niners always seem to take so long for these roster cuts.
Yeah, we'll be one of the last teams to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I guess there's not really anything else. But
tomorrow's the day. Today's a little bit slow. Tomorrow will be the big
yeah,
day.
yeah. But I got 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, obviously 1 fullback, uh, 6 wide receivers, 4 tight ends, two left, two like left tackles technically, 2 left guards, center, two and then two on the right guard spot, and then 1 right tackle, which is around 27 players total. And then on the defense, uh, oh shoot, I think I might have actually got. Okay, I think I have to cut someone because I realized I had too many
Yeah, I think I
defense
did that a few times. I think I ended up like
defensive.
55, 56, quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 6 receivers, 3 tight ends, one, two, three, four, five, 8 linemen, 1 fullback, 5 D tackles, 5 defensive ends, 5 linebackers, 7 cornerbacks, and 4 safeties.
I got 6 defensive end, uh, 4 defensive tackles, technically 2 middle linebackers, one at the weak side linebacker, Sam linebacker 2, and then cornerback, of course, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 4 safeties, and then obviously 3 special teams.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough to figure out who to cut then if I'm over by 1.
And we're not even at doing the parts where, the money aspect of it. We're just throwing random names out there to hope they fit. They've
Yeah.
got a whole another level out there where they got to, throw them, make sure everything fits underneath the cap and whatnot.
Mhm.
So
Guess I would get rid of Nick Zakel then, honestly.
I just haven't been impressed with him.
Yeah, I know, I get it. Okay, I guess that's who I'm gonna cut then.
Cutting Nick Sakel.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I
that's
think
just the thing.
I'm sticking with mine.
Yeah.
I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, but like David McNiner says, tomorrow's cut down. They only I know is there should be surprise or two. Yup.
There's always at least one surprise where everybody's like, "What?"
Like Curtis Robinson was my surprise from last year.
Mhm. Yeah, I think a lot of people expected him to make it.
Really?
I think so.
I did not think Curtis Robinson was gonna make it last year.
I think the biggest surprise is going to come from running backs, or excuse me, from linebackers, depending on who is going to be in a being cut or trade kind of thing.
Yeah. Like you said, there's always a surprise, so Deshaun Jameson could be that guy, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But alrighty.
Well, well, that was fun.
Yep.
I think
But we
tomorrow me and TJ are going to be going live at like 4:30,
okay.
and we'll probably be doing because it'll be just about the same time we get the if not already down to the final 53. It would suck if like they wait until like 4:40, 4:59 to like
Well,
drop
they have
all
to
of it.
wait. 1 o'clock Pacific is the
Is that
deadline.
the Okay, so I was thinking it was 5 p.m. Pacific.
So I think usually the Niners actually like by 2, I think that usually is when they actually release their roster, like it gets fully announced to us.
But by 1, it's got to be turned into the league office.
Yeah,
Gotcha. All right then. Yeah, so I should definitely be home for that.
yeah.
But well,
Alrighty.
should we call it for this one?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having inviting me on, man. It's been definitely a good one. You know, we've had you on a few times, and now I get to
Yep,
come over here. We'll definitely have to go back and forth more often.
for sure.
So,
But yeah, appreciate you for coming on. It was a little bit of a last minute, but yeah, it's
oh
always
yeah,
fun. It's more fun to do it with other
oh yeah,
people
it's
for sure.
yeah, it's always much better when you got someone else to bounce ideas off of and everything, just in general. Plus, after a while, you're like, duh. When you
Yeah.
start talking to
It
yourself.
lets you keep going and not have those like weird pauses.
Yeah. And like even like for me and you have never done a show solo together or as a duo. It's
Yeah,
still new, but we can do it more often. It gets easier after everyone.
exactly.
Yeah,
Alrighty, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe and like button on both of the channels. Again, I have everything
indeed.
linked below in the description for Niner Faithful Radio.
Thank you.
Peace out and go Niners.
Malo.